All right, welcome back. This is the Tomfoolery Podcast, episode 5, I think.
4. It's 4.
I can't count. I'm sorry.
That's a pretty high number.
Hey, you can't do that mathing thing, remember?
I'm not good at mathing. Yeah, this is Brendan. You can call me faggot, pussyhead if you want. I don't really care.
We just right off the bat with straight vulgarities.
Yeah, we'll cut the bullshit. I'm gonna get called names anyway, so I might as well.
Oh, well,
let's
all
meet
gonna
it
have
up
our
front.
own. Yeah, well, that's just it. Like, on the few people who do listen, there's gonna be people who like us, and they're like, ah, man, those people are funny. And then you'll have like everybody else. You know,
How far are we gonna take this?
99%.
Right into the ground.
Yeah, like we'll go until like literally we're getting nothing. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry to tell you, Brendan, you don't get to review porn. No one tweeted.
Oh, really?
You got nothing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna do it anyways, though.
No, you're not reviewing porn. It's not happening.
You can't stop me.
Not today.
We're gonna be like 50 episodes in talking about, hey, any of you listening us, you dozens of fuckheads, stop right now. Unsubscribe.
Yeah, well,
I don't want your admiration.
Your pity listens. Alright, anyway, I am Mac, and
yeah, and I'm Adrien.
Yeah.
We're back again for our 4th episode. We decided
fifth
not
one.
to take... No, it's the 4th one, damn it!
No, they don't know that.
I'm pretty certain
the
they
fourth
do.
is the long lost one.
Yeah.
The one thrown into the ether, never to be seen the light again.
We put it up for adoption. We don't talk about it. We don't want to traumatize episodes 6 and 7.
But they're our favorites.
Oh yeah, there's definitely favoritism.
Yeah, I don't know if I should start date this, but it is May the 4th right now.
Oh god, don't even get me started
Does
on
anyone
how
else like Star Wars?
You get it? It's funny because of the date and it sounds like the saying, right?
Let's establish my character again. I hate everything. I hate that. I think it's the stupidest thing because it's like I get it. It's inclusionary, but I hate it when everybody brings up fucking Star Wars to me. I hate Star Wars now.
It is definitely overplayed. Like, Star Wars is kind of getting run to the ground. Like, Mac and I were discussing this on the way here. Like, for me personally, because we're seeing Guardians tonight and stuff like that, and we were discussing how, like, Guardians is one of those movies, like, almost anybody's going to go see.
It's not just Guardians of the Galaxy. It's Disney's, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sorry. Oh, don't worry.
You gotta
it's
put
also
the brands
Disney,
on.
Lucasfilms,
Yeah.
Star Wars. Don't forget.
You gotta remember, man.
Disney owns it all.
Get your formatting right.
Yeah, nonetheless, so we were discussing it about how he's like, oh yeah, it won't be something like I'm diehard to see. Like he basically, well, here,
Yeah.
you can word it
Yeah, I
yourself.
pretty much was like, I will see probably the Star Wars, but if I...
The Star Wars.
The Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah, it's
not,
multiple wars, so it's the Star Wars. You can say Star War if you want. But
Yeah,
then
the
other-
Star Wars.
It's one really long war.
The Great Star Wars.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, but it's if I don't see it and it doesn't get someone doesn't come up to me and be like, hey, do you want to go see it? I'm not going to go see it. It's not going to be my first choice. It'll be like, oh, these other people are going. I guess I'll go. Like the original trilogy, I only saw like when I was like 15 or something like that.
About the same, yeah.
Yeah, and then I haven't even seen like the prequels or whatever.
You don't want it. You
Like,
we don't discuss this.
I saw the first one and I saw bits of 2 and 3 and they seemed terrible, so I was like,
Okay,
hard pass.
to talk about the prequels, there's 2 trains of thought you can go into these movies. You can go in the first time expecting competently written movies that are in the same vein as the nostalgic sweethearts of the original trilogy, and you're going to be sorely disappointed. They're terribly written.
Yeah.
And
Not very well acted.
all of them, well, no, they're terribly acted, but it's almost to a benefit, almost, because they're so bad. But I'll
So
get to
bad.
that in a second. They all the plot points in those movies, they're kind of hinging on the fact that you've seen the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And it's a huge detriment, because if you don't know who these characters are and you're watching them as standalone films, you're constantly questioning, why are they acting so stupid and weird?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this weird take on a Romeo and Juliet story, but as if a guy read it once and didn't understand that Romeo and Juliet is about 2 stupid teens riddled with hormones and their families are fighting each other.
Yeah.
These movies are badly written dialogue of 2 characters that, if you have context, are going to fuck and make a fuck trophy. And who's the main character of the other 3 movies.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that, you're like, why do they care about each other? They're just it just feels like both of them are pretending to be into each other. But the other train of thought, you go into them expecting they're bad.
Yeah.
And they are like B-movie schlock gold.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many quotable lines.
Yeah,
the
if
characters.
you were to like go in, like if it was made with $100 million less of money and just made for like a couple million, and it was just like, this is a B-movie nonsense, and you're like, let's see how terrible it is. It'd be a good movie. You'd be like, Jar Jar, you fool.
Yeah, I mean, it gets a huge fucking racist stereotype.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, a lot of people don't get it, but I think it's like a weird mix of like Southern Caribbean accents that the guy put on.
Yeah.
And it's so bad. But conversely, you've got characters like Qui-Gon Jinn who are acting so wooden, who get written off right away from a stab wound in the gut, and other characters that survive worse.
Yeah. Don't mess with Liam Neeson's though.
Yeah, he'll fucking. Oh god.
He will find you.
No,
he will
don't need
The
to.
problem's staying on point here, but from episode 1's kind of okay. The best character has got to be Anakin, because he's a little kid actor. He's like 12 years old, and all of his lines are so bad, but they're great. You know, I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
We're pod racing.
Yeah, no, this is pod racing.
That's what it is.
Say that as you're like speeding down the highway, and everybody will laugh before they horribly die and careen the car.
You're right off the road.
I mean, if anybody wants to see any good reviews about this, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Red Letter Media did reviews of the prequels, like analysis, like of each movie, and like all three of them are like 9 parts each. Good, they're like a half hour long, like an hour and a half long, I should say, per movie. And stop jiggling your hand like that. It makes me think you're jerking it over there.
Oh, actually, it's just a natural fidget my leg.
You got the Jimmy legs, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always been an issue for me. It's that or my hands, but because I have nothing to fidget with my hands, my legs just going. It's one of those things, man. I'm like fucking Thumper, man.
So, 2 and 3, fantastic. There's a whole thing on the internet right now about copy pasting Darth Sidious's explanation of. Have you ever heard the tale or the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? And it's this big long paragraph of copy pasted text. It's like the internet's sweetheart darling for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
It's grandois B-movie schlock that everybody's seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's I don't know.
It's a cult classic that isn't supposed to be a cult classic.
It shouldn't, because it's awful.
Yeah.
But you can't help but admire it.
Yeah.
Like, the guy who plays Darth Sidious is he's a villain and he loves it. You gotta respect that, you know? He's hamming it up. There's a big climax in the 3rd movie where he gets Mace Windu with like force lightning.
Power.
And he's wrinkled up ball sack face looking at Mace Windu. It's the best, honestly.
That is a great line.
You go into it with below average expectations and you should be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
you'll be entertained.
I've started, I think, both, or 2, and I've seen like bits of 3, and it's just been like, this is so slow and boring, and I don't care about these characters. 20 minutes in, and it's just, nope, done, that's enough of that.
Didn't you love the part where Anakin talked about how he murdered all the Sand people?
I don't remember a single thing.
The women and the children. He slaughtered them
like animals. See, I know that. I don't remember the scene.
It's I love it. It's so bad. And our friend Neil there, he happens to like the prequels better than he liked The Force Awakens. And I kind of, like, he never elaborated on why. He says that they're just more memorable, and I kind of agree with that.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from with that.
They are more memorable.
Yeah.
But like for the wrong reasons.
Right,
though.
yeah. I mean, again, The Force Awakens was a very competently written movie. You go in, you're like, that was good.
I literally couldn't get past how it was Mad Lib style of episode 4.
Yeah,
like it was. I was getting. There was times where I'm like, if they find a little port in the new Death Star thing, and have to shoot it with
the size of a womp rat.
The size of a womp rat, I'm gonna like start yelling at the screen. And sure enough, they did that exact thing, and I was like, how can we not come up with new ideas? Like, I get it has different themes to it, but it's like, okay, so we got this character who doesn't know they're part of a huge family.
Yeah.
And then we get these two droids this droid to come and lead them along, and then all these other points that it's just like cross out something from episode 4, Force Awakens, we come up with the one that's somewhat different, but it's all very similar.
But episode 4 was competently written.
Episode 4 was
by
competently
extension, episode 7 was competently written.
no, it's it was competently copied.
There we go.
Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't get past that. Like I what's the newest one?
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
I liked it better. I understand why people think it's a worse movie. It probably is a worse movie, but I just couldn't get past that in Force Awakens. It just pissed me off to no end. Like, I bet if I watched The Force Awakens later, it would not get me as much, but I only saw it in theaters, and I was just like, no, why are they doing this? They have a huge writing staff. They can come up with a great universe that they can come up with a good written movie, a well-written movie, but they were just like, this was a well-written movie, why don't we do that? It's like, everyone knows that story who's watching Force Awakens. They don't need a retelling it with different characters.
You know what? This is a weird simile, but Adrien, you're going to get this. Episode 7 is the Dark Souls 3 of the Star Wars series.
Yeah.
You get this, eh?
Yeah.
Whereas everybody fondly remembers the first series, the first trilogy, first game, Dark Souls 1. Everybody remembers nostalgia or not.
Well, Max hasn't played the third one, but like by the time he gets there after going through 1 and 2, he'll understand what you're getting at.
I'm going to explain this anyways as I go, just for anybody listening, but Episode 7 is to Dark Souls 3 as the prequel trilogy is to Dark Souls 2, where the original one would be the original trilogy, which was very competently made. It holds up. The next iteration being the prequels and Dark Souls 2, they're good for different reasons, and they strayed very far from the first.
Yeah.
Whereas Episode 7 to Dark Souls 3 strayed too close to the first one. To the point where you're kind of getting upset that they didn't do anything different.
A little, yeah. I see that to an extent. Like, a bit of the difference is like Dark Souls, the way they made the third one appear, and I get that's kind of how the story they were trying to pull out of it was, the idea is you were hitting the end of that cycle, right, for the Dark Souls lore, right? So you see the remains of the Forgotten Lands that had come before, because you're hitting the end, right? You're hitting that end. If you ever see, there's an episode of Futurama that does it where they go through time over and over again, and they watch the world end and stuff like that. It's the same general thing. They see things come and go as they go through this. So in that aspect, I get they were trying to bring us back in a sense of reliving the series through it, but they hit too close to home because in the aspect of it was basically remember this specific thing. Yeah. Remember when you were here last. Remember living this.
You remember Anor Londo?
Again from every single game.
Do you remember the 2 archers?
Oh, those guys!
God, there's so much wank going on in that game.
Honestly, Anor Londo, I think is if I had to pick, Anor Londo is my favorite, most hated place ever in the series. In the first game, it's my favorite place because that's when you realize what the game is.
It's a huge payoff, yeah.
Yeah, like because that's when the game starts. Mac hasn't hit this part in the game yet, so he's still coming to this.
Yeah.
But in the first game, when you hit Anor Londo, when you hit that part of the game is basically your make or break. When I first played the series on PlayStation, I got there and I couldn't pass it, and that's when I stopped. Mm-hmm. That was my original Dark Souls play, and I ended there because I couldn't get past it. When I picked it up a second time and I got past there. That feeling, like that's what Dark Souls is all about. It's about that self-accomplishment from passing that part that's held you back.
No,
right?
it's about giant dads though.
Yeah, it's always about giant dads.
That's why when you're like, summon some people, I'm like, no, I could run through this quick if I just summon people to help me go along. But what's the point?
In some places it varies. Like when I told you to summon Solaire for like the gargoyles, it was more so because of the fact of it just makes it easier because it just instead of 2 people focusing on you. It's one focuses on one guy and one focuses on you. It's it's a lot easier for your first time through to like just have that extra distraction. It's not because I'm sitting there going, you won't get that sense of accomplishment. Especially early game, you don't get that much. Like, remember when you were fighting Havel, the guy with the big dick that you kept yelling about?
Big dick,
Yeah. Remember how you felt after beating him? You finally got, like, we're getting
Yeah, because I made him bleed.
Yeah, but you got the hang of him after trying a couple times. Every other boss you went into, you kind of ran in and beat, except for the butterfly that kind of fucked your shit. That was kind of funny.
Oh, yeah? So, quickly, fuck Star Wars, fuck Disney, fuck capitalism.
High five Dark Souls?
Communism.
Yeah, communism.
Where's that?
We'll take our socialized healthcare, apply that to grocery stores, and I'm set for life.
There you go.
So, whereabouts are you in Dark Souls 1?
Where did I?
He just finished beating the Capra Demon. He is ready for the depths. I'm gonna give him the shortcut because he had the master key. I'm gonna give him the shortcut to skip Blighttown, going from top to bottom. So I bring him in the back way. No, it's due to the fact of the frame rate because of the 360 onto the Xbox One. You actually can't go through there without lagging and falling off a ledge. It's on next to impossible now.
Well, I haven't been there yet for very specific reasons, but...
Well, yeah, but 9 times out of 10 we skip it because of the fact of how annoying that section is.
Yeah, but if you say it's an emulation issue with 360 to 1, I haven't been there yet to really experience it myself, so I don't really know how to contest you, but I wouldn't recommend skipping Blighttown. That is a hell of an experience for good and bad reasons. Bad reason, obviously, frame rate shits the bed.
And that sets you up for death.
It shits the bed, man.
My major complaint with Dark Souls is this is a problem I have with gaming, whereas I mash buttons too many times, and where it's like if I do swing and I mash it one too many times, like R1 or whatever.
Yep.
And do it 3 times when I should, and then I'm like, after 2 swings, like, no, it's a bad idea, I should roll.
Yep.
It'll make sure I get that 3rd swing before I roll.
Yep, that's command stacking.
Yeah, the command stacking, it's just how I'm bad at doing that. So then early on, it would get me killed, where it'd be like, after one swing, I'd be like, no, that was a bad idea to swing again and roll out of there, and then it would be like, no, you said to swing 3 times, so then you'd swing 3 times and die after the 2nd.
Yep.
And then it'd be like, so aggravating.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Command stacking, the game beats you out of that habit, and then once you get more competent, you start abusing that to your benefit. It's one of those weird things that like it was not intentional, but you can totally use that as a player tool to excel at the game.
Yeah.
And PvP was big about that. There was a few things about like doing certain combos and queuing up a parry while you're just coming out of a roll, and your guy would actually do some the parry iframes while still in a roll animation sometimes, and it's like some high level tech, man.
Yeah, it's just how it hasn't beat me out, and that's where I was getting frustrated at times, where it's just like, I didn't want to roll another time or something, and then it's just getting beat out of just mashing the button, where it's just like, I've had games where it doesn't register sometimes when I think it should. Yeah. And they'd be like, why didn't you swing? So I would just like press it like 4 times just to make sure I would get. Usually it's like I press it 3 times, and once, as long as I'm not, the animation's still going, I can stop, and then it'll not stack it.
What are you using weapon-wise?
I'm using a scimitar, I believe.
No, he's using the Uchi Katana right now.
Yes.
He's using the katana.
Might want to get on something bigger and beefier.
He's kind of going through where he just kind of picks up and tries the next thing for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, but he hasn't really found too much. Like, he's only just he hasn't even entered the depths yet. But he hasn't searched around much either. Like, he searched around the areas he's gone, but
have you got the claymore?
Yeah, he's gone on the bridge. Oh no, he didn't grab it. He ran through the bridge. The dragon took off. I don't know if he went back onto it to grab the items or not.
Should probably get the claymore.
I think I did.
That thing is my favorite weapon in that game.
Claymore's pretty good in that one.
Yeah, I don't really want like a mass like strength guy.
It's quality.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can. It goes off strength and dex.
Yep.
Okay.
It's both, and it's my favorite because when you push the button, there's a clear swing start and swing end that you have like a good, like 75% of a second of just animation. So you like mashing buttons. You know when to queue up your next attack, and it's an easy one to get out of that habit of button mashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I was getting better at it, and then I kind of wanted to do like spears and stuff, because especially in some of those hallways and shit where you would swing and it'd be like ka-chink and just stop, and it'd be like so aggravating where like random things, like the rats or whatever are coming at you, and it's just like, ka-ching, ka-ching, and you're just hitting off the wall, and it's just get a spear or something where
I
you
think
can
the
lunge.
Claymore gets you out of that, though, because I think its secondary attack is a lunge.
Yep. I also don't
yeah.
like those secondary. I want fast weapons.
No, that's fair. Hey.
I had an old friend. You remember Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like that when he started playing that game. He wanted to be. He was thinking he was going to go into it thinking it was like Castlevania, where you a DPS fast little knife monkey is like a viable thing. In Dark Souls, it's not really so much that. It's like even the knife is pretty fucking slow.
Yeah.
The whole game's kind of methodical.
But I don't want, like, you say, like, use the secondary attack. Like, I don't want to use secondary attacks because they're all just like, and it's just super slow.
Like, but it also depends on the weapon you're using. Like I think the Uchigatana does one where you kind of go over your head, where he kind of holds the blade and he snaps it up. Yeah, they're all different. Like like the Zweihander has one where.
Hey, you pronounced it right.
Yeah, well, ever since you bitched at me about that shit. Well, I do it every now when I do it now, but like every now and then when I'm talking with your brother, I'm like, hey, this Zweihander. But no.
Yeah.
Its strong attack is like it does like sweeping motions.
Yeah.
No, it's two-handed strong attack. Is the big run up and smash?
Yeah, the big run up and smash. That when you're two-handing it, he has this big run up where he kind of like just lugs it over his shoulder and just drops it down.
Yeah.
But like it all changes. So like for the single hand with the claymore that we're talking here, it's like you're having a shield. He'll just pull back and lunge forward, and it works well for hallways. Is what my point. Like, and it works well with combos where you can like do a slash at the beginning of the doorway and then lunge into it to get the guys in the hall, right?
Yeah.
So like it is able to manage to maneuver it in there. But actually, I find it really funny how much you and your brother actually got into this game, because I was the one who started playing all this in the first place. You guys were like, no, Skyrim's better.
I don't think I said it was better per se. I was playing it. I was really enjoying it at the time.
Yeah, no. And I'm like, hey, just try this out. You guys will like it. It's just like that, just more open world. Nah, I'm like, except for its last.
They're completely different games. That's the thing.
I don't care. It was still good.
I love it when people compare the two. It's like, which one's better? Skyrim combat or Dark Souls? It's like, well,
No,
Skyrim's not about the combat.
Well, no, like that's just it. You can't compare it that way. Game wise, for me, I just was able to invest myself in Dark Souls better than I was in Skyrim.
Yeah.
But
So
how are you liking it so far?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Another one of my beefs is the dying animation on some of the characters are really annoying. Where it's like, is he dead? Is he not? Is he? Some of them where it's like, there's one scene where there's like 10 of those little zombie guys or like those undead guys, and it's like, which ones are alive? They're all like, takes 5 seconds to fall over.
Yeah, where they kind of like wail their body around before they go. Yeah.
And it's like, are you coming to attack me? And I'm just like swinging wildly at all these dead ones, and I'm like, it's like, some of them, their dying animation is too long.
Yeah.
And it's like, it should be 1 second and down or like falling.
I think my favorite thing about, just a minor thing about it, the noises that your character makes when he gets hit, they don't sound like he's in pain. He sounds like he's just mildly fucking irritated. You get hit, he's like, oh. And like he dies like, oh. It's like, who fucking does that? No, you want to be screaming like they did that in Dark 2, where your guy had lots of screams and.
Oh yeah, he's like, ah!
Yeah, there's lots of that. In 1, he just sounds like he's just going to bed, you know.
Yeah, just
well, you
yawning.
gotta also think about like the time frame between 1 and 2 and all that stuff, and like the amount of the advancement in games from point A to point B there, right?
Yeah, recording new voice files, yeah.
That's complicated.
Well, no,
3 years of work.
Well, you gotta think about it. When Dark
We
Souls
spent the whole
1
3
came
years.
out, it wasn't really that popular. It only picked up closer to when 2 came out. After 2 came out is when it really caught steam and really ran.
Yeah. But, I don't know. A lot of people think it's this big masterpiece of gaming. I think it's just a really good...
It's a good series.
It's a good fucking video game.
Yeah, it's a good fucking series. That's about it.
The second half is a little bit weaker than the first, but...
Yeah, well, that's just it. Like, watching Matt go through it now, that's what I've been telling you. I kind of want to run through all 3 again, just to kind of, like, just do them, right?
Yeah.
Just because they're fun.
And then you get to 3 and you get halfway through and go,
Yeah, you're kind of like just fucking... Well, no, that's exactly it. Like, me and Steve will make a bunch of guys, but we can, like, run through the game so fast that, like, within, like, a day's time, day and a half, we've already gotten the guy to, like, the level we want him at, like, he can wield what we want him to, and we've basically beaten the game, and it's like, there's not much left to do but get ranks and build a new guy, like, it's about it.
Nope.
It's just a bunch of rinse and repeat at this point. It really sucks, and it sucks that they're really done with the series. Because I really wish they would continue, but at the same time, I also understand if you continue too far.
They also made 3 games in 6 years?
About there. 4, if you count Bloodborne.
Bloodborne
was
No, but 1, 2, and 3 of Dark Souls.
No. Those were, between 1 and 2, I think it was 7 years apart.
No.
No,
Dark 1 was 2011. Dark 2 was 2015?
Oh, I don't know. I thought Dark Souls 1 came out closer to early 2000s.
It was
Demon's Souls is
2010.
09.
Okay. Oh, that might be where I'm thinking then.
Yeah, Demon's was 09.
Yeah, I know. It's because I started with Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
Into Dark Souls.
Demon's was 09. Dark 1 was 11.
20, almost my birthday.
Oh, what do you fucking do?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Day off. Shit.
Mackenzie.
10 years after 9/11.
What a fucking hallmark that was, wasn't it? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so...
Yeah, it was 2011.
Years, yeah.
2011, 2014.
You're doing my hair slick thing, you loser.
No, actually, it's because of my hat.
How would you feel if I grew a beard with no mustache?
Yeah, it's 2011, 2014, and 2016. So 3 and 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's
fair.
That's a lot for a game. I haven't played 2 and 3, but it doesn't seem like a game that you can.
You don't.
You don't need that seems like a lot for that type of game. Or Fallout and some of those, they're not.
Well, they release it sometimes every 5 years.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, to be fair, 2 had some troubled development.
Dark Souls?
Yeah, Dark 2 had, I think halfway through development, they had to shift director and then salvage the game from what he was turning it into.
Oh, okay.
I think
I remember us reading about this, right?
Yeah. The previous director to it was a guy named Shibuya, I believe. His last name was Shibuya. Yeah. He was on it, and then he was turning it into a Sega arcade game or some shit.
No, fuck off.
Yeah, he was doing some shit to it. And they shifted him off of the project and put Tanimura in charge. Tanimura is the guy in charge of Dark 3 PvP.
Okay.
And he's behind all of the DLC for 2.
Okay, whatever.
You didn't like the DLC?
DLC for 2, what was it? I think the first, I think there was 2 of them I could care less about, but there was one that I didn't mind.
Well,
the first one I think was the Ivory Crown or some shit like that.
Sunken King.
Whatever, the poison fucking dragon and shit. Yeah, that was stupid. I
love that place.
I hated that DLC.
That was
Nah, I hated that.
Level design for that place was probably the peak of that game.
Oh, level design wise, yeah, it was beautiful. I just didn't like the area. It was a really fucked up Legend of Zelda fucking puzzle, man.
Kind of, yeah.
It was well, basically, it's hit this thing, this elevator comes up, hit this other thing, a different elevator comes up. Now you have to hit it to put yourself down, run across this bridge. Now hit it, go up another section. If you hit this thing with an arrow from 20 feet away, hey, you can open up a shortcut from the beginning of the map. But don't worry, you're never going to go back there until the end anyway, so don't fucking worry about that.
Was it the water temple or what?
Pretty fucking close, it felt like it.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. He's pretty much on the money with that Zelda comparison.
That sounds pretty water temple-ish.
There are wall buttons that you hit with your sword to make them activate. And it's that's, in itself, it's a really cool piece of content because the level design in Dark 2 is really suffering compared to 1. Mm-hmm. And Shulva, the area of the first DLC, immediately picked up on that. And that place is set up like Dark 1 where it's really complex in that you can spend a lot of time just making your way through the DLC. But on your second time through, you know what you're doing. You can book it from point A to point B, which is end of the level within 10 minutes of running.
Yeah.
Because if you know what you're doing, you're going straight there. But your first time through, it's taking 2 to 3 hours of going through it because you're just meticulously looking at every side little object there.
Yeah, and
it's a fantastic piece, man. I love it.
Well, yeah, like you said, construction-wise and how they design it, it is nice. The things with hitting the buttons on the wall, but that's just it. Is it's not not a mechanic they brought in that was heavy in the game. It's just something they kind of threw in there. So it's on top of an extra little tidbit you gotta look into, an extra little factor of the DLC that brings new content to the game, which is what you want from DLC, of course, right? You want the additional content. But I just felt as a whole I don't know. I guess it's because of the 2-3 hour like search through time, and if you didn't really spend that time to do it, you basically were just running it, like you said, like point A to point B.
Yeah.
And that's just it. Is with my Dark Souls game, I want to have the best of both, where I can run from point A to point B, but I enjoy my route there still nonetheless. Like I could speed run levels, like we do it all the time. It's okay. Let's just get to the boss. Let's get this over with. But with that, like we still know like certain little nicks and crevices and all these little spots where we check out and all that stuff on our way there because we know about them, and it's easy. With that one, it's like I gotta hit this elevator. Nope, wrong elevator. Well, we're kind of just fucked now, aren't we?
Man, the DLC in those games, the two particular,
Yeah.
my favorite. Like the third pack, the Crown of the Ivory King.
Which one was that one again?
That was the one with the cool dude walking out the giant eye of Sauron for the boss fight. You don't remember that?
No, I'm trying to think.
With the Lois Knights.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. See, that boss fight isn't too bad as long as you actually find all those guys. Like the hidden knights in the snow area. If you can find the knights to help you with the boss fight, then the boss fight's fine.
I think that was remarkably well done.
Fuck yeah.
When you're going down there, well, again, you need to get through the area one time to pretty much open up the entire DLC.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you need to open up that one door that knocks out everything.
Because there's two options present to you at that moment where it's like I could go to the boss, and when you're going down there, you see, hey, there's one guy on a chair, and there's 3 empty chairs around him. You're like, maybe there's guys that fill that up, and then you go down there, and it's like, all right, I'm being attacked by like 10 dudes at once, and I'm not even in the boss fight yet. I probably got to go find those night dudes. And then when you're looking for them, you're backtracking to this entire opened up DLC. If you play it, you're gonna see context where the first time you go through, it's covered in ice.
Yeah.
Second time you go through, it's like a nice summer winter day. What am I talking about? It's a nice winter area. Yeah. It's bright, sunny out, but there's snow everywhere, and you have all this other side area to explore.
Yeah.
And the main goal of the DLC is you find those knights, and you have a posse in that boss fight with you. You have your 4 night bros fighting off other 4 black knights, and then once you're done with them, then this big Eye of Sauron looking gate comes up, and a fiery thing comes up, and you think, oh god, what's going to come out of that? And then way at the bottom of it, there's this little speck, and a dude walks out, and the life bar pops up, and it's like the Ivory King or something like that. I can't remember his exact name.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But oh fuck, man, what an entrance! He's like by far the most memorable boss in that entire game. Oh, it's so good.
Well, if we're talking about number 2, then yeah, I don't know. Sif still takes it for 1 for me. I fucking love that boss fight.
You snuff that pupper for a power up, man.
Oh, I like hate that boss fight always, but like it's such a good one. I'm like half tempted to make Matt go through the DLC first, just so he can have the right cutscene.
I don't know.
I like
let him kind of do it as he goes.
Well, I can't remember how to. Oh, okay, no, now I remember how to.
Because you can also find Kath, but if you do Kath, you can't get the contextual cutscene.
Contextual? What do you mean?
Well, if you want to find Kath, you have to you have to kill Sif before.
Right, yeah, because you gotta beat the 4 kings and then sit down there and talk to them.
Yeah, before you put the thing down, and if you want the cutscene, you have to open up Duke's Archives, which requires you to put the Lord Vessel down.
Yeah.
And that would lock you out of that cutscene.
Oh yeah.
Or no, that would lock you out of Kath. Yeah.
Well, it locks you out of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Really, and well, Mac's not really sitting there as a diehard.
But there's some context there, man.
I suppose.
Yeah. For video games, I don't care about narrative.
Really?
Like 99.9% of the time, I don't care.
Okay, here's the thing. Have you talked to Framt yet?
No. Dude, remember, he hasn't even beat fucking Quayle yet.
Alright. You haven't talked to Big Tooth Monster, have you?
No. He hasn't even seen the titty spider chick yet, so.
Oh, shit. You're in for a treat.
Yeah. Well, he's got to fight the gaping dragon first, and then he gets to go down to Quayle. He's got to go through the depths first.
I think that's enough Dark Souls talk.
There's never enough Dark Souls talk.
I think for the general public.
No, that is fine. Actually, I did want to touch base on this case. So we saw Fast and the Furious 8, what was it, 2 weeks ago, something like that?
I watched it again this week.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, he went and saw it with his mama.
Yeah, she was like, apparently this was a thing that we saw like one of them together, and then she's like, you gotta watch it with me, and apparently she was not happy, so I was like,
you can speak up a little, you know? Who are you trying to whisper for? Your mom ain't gonna hear this shit.
No, it's fine. So then I watched it again. It's okay. Like, it is what it is. Like, how many of them have you watched?
None.
I
think I caught Tokyo Drift on TV once.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I do not fucking remember a thing of that.
Like, it was weird how the first 3 are like, these are racing movies, and then at 4 they're like, screw those movies, we're moving on to just like random nonsense, or it's like
heists with cars.
Have you seen the trailer for it?
Yeah, he grabs a torpedo and like redirects it.
That scene was so stupid of just thinking about, do they know how submarines work or torpedoes work or anything works?
What did The Rock do in that one where he was in the hospital and he saw like on TV, he's like, oh, those boys are up to some shit, and he like flexed his arm out of the cast back into proper health.
Yeah,
walked down the street, ripped a minigun off a helicopter, and then shot down another helicopter with that minigun.
The minigun was later in the movie.
Was that?
Yeah. Well, no. It connects to the same scene. Like, there's like a little gap in between that. So basically what happens is he realizes they're like fucking up the town. And he's like, oh shit, Daddy's got to go back to work. And then he flexes his arm, breaks off his casts and shit like that. Then he steals an ambulance. And like, some helicopter's coming down to gun down some people driving underneath this bridge. But of course, The Rock comes in the nick of time, drives that ambulance off a bridge into the helicopter. Helicopter goes down. He kicks open the windshield.
And he rips the minigun off.
No, you gotta hear this. I'm throwing the line in there too. He kicks open the windshield. And she's like, oh, you called in the cavalry? And he's like, bitch, I am the cavalry. Okay, he probably doesn't say bitch. But nonetheless, he's like, I am the cavalry. Then he proceeds to rip off a minigun. And then fire it into the sky at said second helicopter. Like, and he's sitting there like it's a normal Tuesday for him. He just pulls this thing out and it's da-da-da-da. It makes no fucking sense. It's just like the torpedo thing. He's sitting there. He's hanging onto his vehicle while his hand is placed on this torpedo. He slightly twists his wrist and causes it to have enough of a rotation in its trajectory to miss and hit some other car that just conveniently is going to be in the way.
Yeah. How many of the Die Hards have you seen?
I saw Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard. The one with Justin Long.
Yeah, okay. The Fast and Furious franchise is very similar to Die Hard, where it's like the first 3 actually in both are like very like they're one type of movie, and then after that it's just like, we're going to the extremes, and it's like having it make sense. We're done with that. Yep. We're making action movies, and then like in Live Free or Die Hard, where he takes a police car, takes it off a divider, and flies it into a helicopter. He ghost rides it into a helicopter.
Oh yeah, he hops out and rolls down.
Yeah, he hops out and rolls out of the police car. It goes up a divider and flies into a helicopter. Yeah, and blows up the helicopter.
Doesn't he jump onto an F-16 or something in that movie? That the F-16's like inside of a big like highway area or something like that. Fuck,
it does a lot of things like that. Yeah. But anyway, like the Fast and Furious, like once 4 hit, they're just like first 3 completely different movies. Like there's a guy like Ludacris's character in the second movie he's introduced, and he's just like some hustler in Miami who wants to own an auto body shop. Now he's like some tech genius who can hack into whatever the hell he wants.
Hack the world.
And he's just like, oh,
I'm okay with
how do you do with that? And it's just like, oh, you just need to hack this and do blah, blah, blah. And then he tippy taps on the keyboard a couple times, and then they can do whatever they want.
See, what the thing is, though, is they don't say that he doesn't do the hacking and stuff. They just say he's smart and he sets up races, and yeah, he wants a local auto body shop. Like, geez. It's Ludacris, for fuck's sakes. Of course he's going to think small. He ain't thinking big game. He's not sitting here going, man, hack some people. Hey, man, move, bitch. Get out of his way. That's all that matters to him.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I love the idea of that. I've never seen these movies, but I love the idea of fucking Luda pushing 3 buttons of like, we're in. You know?
That's pretty much
Beep, boop, bop.
Yeah, like
we've hacked the government.
The last one, it's him and what's her name from Game of Thrones, Missandei? Like Daenerys.
Yeah.
Like her and Ludacris are the 2 hackers that are just like beep boop boop bop, we're in.
Yeah.
And then they're fighting the arch nemesis hacker, which is Charlize Theron.
Oh fuck.
And she's
oh god, let's not actually get into any spoilers about Fast 8.
I just wanted her to not whisper for 3/4 of the movie. 3/4 of the movie, Charlize Theron was like, you should do this. This is what you want. Yeah. We have your family.
Yeah, she's like super subtle about everything. Well, that was partially spoiler, but
I don't care. That's whatever. I don't care. Honestly, if you're going to Fast and Furious for the story, there's other. I don't care. It doesn't
You're
matter.
just done. You've already signed your.
I went into that movie the first time I watched it. I'm like, I'm going to not think about the logic and just watch the movie and be entertained by the random nonsense.
Okay, so the second time out, what'd you do? Sit there and pay attention to the story?
I kind of paid attention to a little bit, trying to see what I could poke holes, and it was after 20 minutes. I was just like, after that first scene where Vin Diesel's racing the car in reverse with the engine on fire.
Oh god, yeah, that was
true story. That happened.
That's actually like a thing. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say the first scene of the movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So, Vin Diesel and what's her name?
Keep talking.
Letty.
I'm gonna just letting you guys know. I'm gonna go grab me a club soda pop.
Okay.
With some water flavoring.
Yeah. But
yeah, I'll grab
it's
your
him
kettle,
and
right?
Michelle Rodriguez. They're in Cuba, and then they're having a jolly good time, and then
talking.
and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, Dom, your cousin's in trouble. His car's being towed or whatever shit." And then he goes in. There's some guy taking his cousin's car. Anyway, Vin Diesel's like, "I need to race you for this for the vehicle." And he's like, "It doesn't matter what the car is. It's all about the driver, yada, yada, yada." So then he says, "I could race you with," or the other guy is making him race with this piece of shit, looks like Herbie the Love Bug type vehicle.
Well, no, it's not
a
piece of shit hot rod. It was a piece of shit hot rod is what it was.
Yeah, so then,
Oh god, I'm so sorry, audience.
yeah.
I love you. I'm so sorry. I
Brian,
didn't
you
mean to
need
abuse you.
Brian, you need to hear this. It is up there in just random shenanigans where pretty much Vin Diesel races this rusted ass piece of shit by putting a Coke tab in it and connecting a wire to something so he could pull it and adding NOS and taking off.
That's like the
Not kidding.
It's like the adrenaline of cars, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like you just put a NOS on anything and it just starts the car.
And took off the hood and the front fender and the wheel wells.
Yeah, he basically took everything off. This thing was nothing but like an engine and fucking.
Yeah, and they took he's like, take out anything except for the engine. So like they took out the back seat and shit. So then he's just racing, and then the engine's like lighting up, like getting glowing red during the whole race.
Oh my god!
And then all of a sudden, like 3/4 of the way through, it starts going on fire, and then he doesn't give a shit. And then all of a sudden, the front windshield breaks because it's engulfed in flames. So then he's behind him, or the other guy who's in a nice vehicle. He decides it's better to go in reverse, so he spins around, starts going in reverse, adds NOS, catches up to the other guy.
Oh my god.
In reverse with his engine on fire, and then, of course, at the end, his brakes don't work, so he just ghost rides it into the ocean.
Oh my god.
So that's the opening.
Well, he's got no doors. Remember, he's got no doors. He just jumps.
Yeah, so he just is like, he just tucks and rolls and drives it into the ocean, and then everyone loves him because he's the best. I'm Dominic Toretto.
Yes. Does he do that hand motion too with his hands up?
Yeah, of course. He's like, yeah, what do you want from me? What's up?
I'm Dominic Toretto, bitch.
Pretty much. But that just sets the tone for the whole movie. If you can tolerate that, you can tolerate the rest of the movie. That is the pinnacle of the last couple Fast and Furious movies, where it's like he is faster going in reverse in this piece of shit car with his engine on fire than the other guy, and he ghost rides it into the ocean because. Whatever, I'm Dominic Toretto, you figure it out.
Fast 8. No, what's the newest one?
The Fate of the Furious.
Yeah. But like, what's the number iteration?
8.
8. So,
F8. Fate of the Furious.
Fuck you.
It doesn't say F. Alright, it's not F8 in the.
Oh,
but that's just.
No, they call it the Fate of the Furious. But like the promo
that'd be really
F8
jumping the shark in this series.
Fate of the Furious.
Yeah, they'd be really jumping the shark if they put an F8 in that title, wouldn't they? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, they have ideas to go up to 10. Like, I think that's all under
Yeah, I think they have a contract
for up to 10.
How long till they start jumping cars in space? I don't know.
That's what a lot of people have been guessing. They're like, so is 9 gonna be Fast and Furious in space?
Yeah, like they're gonna like. That's the thing. It's gonna be like there's gonna be a big stash of gold or like whatever big. The ISS is filled to the fucking burst with money.
Do you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be Armageddon with the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, no, the comet is made of money.
It's gonna be Armageddon where we need people to go up into space, and then Vin Diesel, we need you. Dominic Toretto, come to space. We'll teach you how to do it, and then they'll go up to space.
They fill the rockets full of cars, though.
No, it's
so
not.
that midway through... No,
they're gonna...
So midway through space, they can actually drive out of the rocket and land on said comet.
Yeah. No, it's going to be them.
No, it's got to be ridiculous like that fucking plane trick.
It's going to be like they're in a dune buggy, and then they're going to put NOS on it and just trick it out and be like, we can't make that jump across the crater. I can, and then he puts NOS, and then all of a sudden that thing's shooting a mile across the crater.
They got to get to the meteor before the evil Mexican cartel steals this really valuable meteor from them. So what they do is they soup up the space shuttle, the SS sick motherfucker, and they hit the sick jump off the India Delhi buildings, and they mid jump. You got Luda in the front seat, and he pulls out a can of NOS and puts it right in the tube beside him that leads to the gas tank or something. And then once they screw that on, then the fucking thing shoots into space. And then once they land, then the cars come out.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the cartel's already there.
I actually sold myself on the Armageddon revamped into Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna be.
That's how it's gonna be.
Tyrese is the new Owen Wilson. It's perfect.
Wow.
And then Bruce Willis is Vin Diesel, and then
It's just because he's bald, isn't it?
Ben Affleck is The Rock. It's perfect.
Why?
Perfect.
I don't remember Ben
and-
Affleck being that cool in now.
I don't know. He's a main character, and Michael Clark Duncan is ludicrous.
Who plays as Steve Buscemi though?
Steve Buscemi. No one plays. Steve Buscemi actually plays him.
It's Michelle Rodriguez.
No, it's Steve Buscemi.
No, Steve Buscemi plays Steve Buscemi. Let's be fair.
Steve Buscemi.
Can't replace Steve Buscemi.
I just watched Con Air, and Steve Buscemi is so great in that movie. Have you seen that one?
No, never.
Okay, so pretty much it's a great action film where it's pretty much a airplane that's moving a bunch of convicts across the country.
Okay.
And then the convicts take over the plane, and then Nick Cage is the main character who's like,
All right, okay. You got it, Nick Cage. I'll believe whatever you tell me.
Yeah,
Now,
so
I wouldn't put it past him.
Nick Cage is pretty much he's an army guy who was home for a weekend, and then he was at a bar, and then these guys were harassing his girlfriend, so he beat the shit out of them and killed one of them.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
He did beat the shit out
I'm
of
sure
him.
Nick Cage beat someone up. Yeah.
It was like Castor Troy in Face Off. I'm Castor Troy. No, but that's a great movie, and Steve Buscemi is like supposed to be like the Hannibal Lecter type guy.
Oh my god.
And then he just has a great scene with just. It's hard to explain, but watch Con Air.
Oh,
great
man.
movie.
Does he do like the fava bean line, but instead of going, he just blinks his weird vagina eyes, and it makes the same noise?
There isn't.
Like his eyelids are flapping all yours.
At the beginning of the movie, he does have like the face mask, so all you can see is his eyes. So, and it's a great movie. So many like John Malkovich is in it. Dave Chappelle's great in that movie.
Oh, he's in it?
Yeah.
Oh, I might have to watch
It's
that.
like.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just
like
listed it up.
Chappelle can sell me on anything. Though.
Yeah, and it's great. I watched it like a couple months ago. I watched it again. I'm like, why don't I watch this more? It's such a good movie.
Oh my
and
god.
then it's just a great movie. And Nick Cage just perfect. He has like. He's a hillbilly from like Alabama. He has super
It's
long
Nick
hair.
Cage. You know, is that where that fucking scene's from? Where he does that like whole hair in the wind fucking blow?
Yeah, probably yeah.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Where he steps out of a plane.
Yeah,
And his hair blows in the wind, and he's like, he's fucking obviously hardcore balding up top, and he's just.
And he's trying to pull the Fabio look going out.
Ving Rhames is some badass guy. It's pretty good. Oh man.
Oh fuck! Speaking of ridiculousness, as we were talking about Fast and Furious, you know what they're planning on doing with that movie? A spin-off series where it's just The Rock and Jason Statham.
Are they just fighting for an hour and a half? Because I'd watch that.
I know, kind of, right?
I would just listen to Jason Statham talk for an hour and a half.
Jason Statham is super badass. And
He
it's
really is.
Like, there's one scene where those two guys are in jail and they're kind of breaking out kind of thing in the last one. And then it's just different fighting styles where, like, The Rock is just... They have rubber bullets and they're just shooting The Rock. The Rock's just, like, doesn't give a shit. Like,
Does
you
The Rock-
wrestled for so many years. Learn how to sell something.
Does
And
The
he's just
Rock
like-
think he's Superman or something?
Pretty much.
Like,
It's just like...
he's trying to establish a larger cinematic universe of his movies that he's involved in.
It's pretty much, he gets hit with a rubber bullet in the chest, he stutter steps, and then goes and throws the guy into another guy. It's pretty much like, he takes a half step back and then beats the shit out of him. It's like, rubber bullets, I get you're a strong-ass man, but it's just...
I got a feeling that he went into like the editor's studio, like the editor's booth, and wanted him to like insert metallic tink noises when the rubber bullets hit his chest. He's like, it'll be cool though, just do it.
I'm pretty sure he had some input where there's a scene, or right before that, where those two guys are in cells across from each other, and The Rock literally pulls out a concrete bench off the wall and starts curling it, and because why not? And he's just like, oh yeah, I've got a lot to... Or I forget what the line is. Where he's like... Or Jason Statham's like, oh, you're all show and no go. And then he's like, I got plenty of go. And he's just curling the bench. And I'm like, yes. That's why I love that movie. Because it's just so bad and so great. I think... Yeah, now I want to watch Con Air again. And Face Off. I'm Castor Troy!
Ready for the big time, baby.
At the beginning, when Nick Cage is dancing as like the priest with all like the nuns and shit, that was pretty
makes
good.
That weird fucking face. Oh my god, that movie's dumb. God, the fucking magnet boots, man. The weird super prison on the oil rigger.
Oh
refinery.
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Fucking weird super prison that use purple dots to like manage their goddamn prisoners.
Yeah,
They tell the difference, man.
That's pretty good.
You tell which one's having a riot. They're just purple dots on a goddamn radar screen.
Get him! Get that purple dot, he looks intimidating!
Those magnet boots were ripped straight out of like the Mario Brothers adaptation.
Let's not talk about the Mario Brothers movie.
Let's talk about the Mario Brothers adaptation.
I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through.
Oh, God, don't
I
even
watched
bother.
bits and pieces.
Toad is like legitimately like fungi in like a hole in the wall.
What's his name? Who's the bad guy?
Bowser?
No.
Oh,
who's
it's
the
King Koopa in that one.
Yep.
In the
It's,
live action, they just call him King Koopa.
What's
They
his
don't even call
name?
him
No, the
Bowser.
actor. It's the guy from Speed as well. Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper, yeah.
That's
Oh, I
his
thought
name.
you were talking about the guy beside him. What's his name? I don't remember his name either.
Look at that. Oh god.
I just know it's John Leguizamo.
I
I
think it was-
forget who Mario is.
I think it's
That was it.
Ben Kingsley.
Is who?
I think Mario. I think
No,
it's
he's not Mario.
Whatever. The guy who played Mario was like super pissed. Like apparently, like they got sick on filming and stuff.
he
like
was
you got
drunk that whole movie.
No, that's apparently it. Like after like certain point of it, him and John just were like, "Fuck it," they just started drinking on set.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're
just gave
drunk
up.
that whole movie. You watch it and you're like, yeah, they are obviously fucking hammered, man. They could not give a fuck about that movie.
Well, hey, at some point. you
Well,
just
neither
give
could the
up.
writers, so
Oh, yeah.
why do they care?
What the fucking Yoshi was like a tiny raptor T-Rex looking motherfucker.
Mhm.
I don't even think Princess Peach was an actual like thing in that.
No, it was Daisy.
Was it Daisy?
It was Daisy, yeah.
Well, at least they
okay.
go to the
Whatever.
original OG princess.
The OG princess.
Yeah.
Or they should have gone to Priscilla. Straight to Priscilla.
I don't who the
I
fuck
think
is
that's
Priscilla?
in Donkey Kong. Is Priscilla.
Fucking no.
I don't remember. Wait. No, I can't remember her name. You're thinking of one from
Penelope?
like,
No, I don't know. Something like that.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
we can
Oh,
do
that
it.
might be the one they brought into Smash.
I'm looking it up.
recently. I can't remember her name.
her name escapes me right now.
Yeah, like the chick with the star, right?
Thinking Rosalina.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Never
Rosalina.
mind.
Oh, yeah.
You guys ever watch Game Theory?
No,
Don't. That guy's a fucking moron.
that's fair.
I think I've watched a bit of it, and then I'm trying.
He's one of those guys that like puts forward like theories about video games. Game Theory. He theorizes. about
Pauline
video
is
games.
the original Donkey Kong.
Pauline. Yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mario's girlfriend, Pauline. That's right. Yeah, Game Theory. But he theorized that Rosalina was Luigi and Peach's daughter. Do you know why?
Why?
Because she's got detached earlobes, and Mario has attached earlobes.
That's the whole. Fuck off.
Fuck that guy, honestly. Fuck him. Fuck him. Don't watch him. If you watch Game Theory and you're listening to this right now, unsubscribe.
Also, listen. Before you do,
Don't follow us on Twitter.
Before that, read our disclaimer paragraph and then unfollow him.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We got to reference that disclaimer paragraph. I think we did it once last time.
We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, we get it.
It's good. I'm just gonna copy paste it. It's gonna be the same paragraph, like over and over again.
That's on our main page. It's like
It's not like we throw it into the description of every episode.
I want to have like a waveform of us just talking, and like we do it in such a way that if you took it into a spectrometer, the actual reading of it would just be the paragraph in ASCII form. I don't know how we do it. We'd sound like fucking monsters talking. Yeah.
That's just one of those.
May the 4th. Do you guys know what happened the other day in Winnipeg here, this shithole of a fucking center of North America?
Was it Revenge of the 5th that's going to be tomorrow?
No, don't get me on that.
Don't be like that.
Okay, so what happened, Bren?
Okay, so, I don't know what hair salon this was. Some big fat bitch in the city. Let me start off right now.
Just the way to word it. Some big fat bitch. Like,
Okay.
right off the bat.
That's a huge bitch.
Actually, that's the name of my TV, because you can like name it. I have a smart TV and whatever, and when I first pulled it out of the box, Mac's first words were, "That's a huge bitch," so its name is the Huge Bitch.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Now let me tell my story. So this salon in
Fuck
Winnipeg,
you.
this woman went with her fiance to get themselves pedicures. Were promptly turned away from the salon because they were too big. The husband could get his pedicure done because he wasn't as big as his fat bitch wife. He was like, he would fit in the chair. And he didn't want to get it done because, my wife, my fucking, soon to be wife is crying. Let's go console her with donuts probably. So what happened was the salon turned them away because they were actually worried their chairs were going to break under this woman. And what does she do? She calls the news. She has a big story and is crying about this on I think it's CBC or something like that.
Sounds like a CBC story.
Yeah, something they'd publish,
something
whatever.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and she wants to file this as a human rights complaint.
What?
Yeah, apparently this is violating human rights. Her not getting her fucking toes pampered.
No.
But the salon was worried that their equipment would break under her weight. And this is apparently violating human rights under our charter, I guess.
I think it's funny how what people associate under human rights.
Yeah.
It's like they have the right to serve people who are.
They have the right to turn you away as long as it's not race.
Under the PC shit, the politically correct.
That's completely different. That's apples and
Yeah,
oranges.
let's not dabble into that.
Well, no, it touches base on that.
You fucking libtard cuck, get out of here.
Oh, God.
So,
Cuck is probably the best word ever. It's a great word.
so what happened?
though.
She goes.
Bitching and moaning.
So she goes to the news. And she's complaining that these people are violating her human rights. And what do you expect is going to happen? Do you expect that they're going to get bigger chairs to accommodate your fat ass? They didn't make you gain that weight, bitch. Like, it's not their fault that you don't fit in the chair. If you go to this establishment and they don't want to serve you, suck it up and go to the next one.
Maybe they'll let you do it on your rascal scooter, and then you can go ahead.
How about you ask they pull out a fucking stool, you could sit your fat ass on that. Grab 2 of them. Christ. And she wants this place to accommodate people of her size. Like, they're gonna spend loads of them, like their money to buy bigger seats for fat people. And her reasoning was that there are more fat people than non-fat in today's society. Therefore, we should accommodate to that.
That doesn't make it
No.
right.
No,
And that's also not true.
that means we should be teaching our kids that.
Put down the fork.
How about maybe 1 cookie instead of 10? You know. How about we take that caloric intake we have every day? How about we shave a 0 off that and see how the kids do? You know. Oh, I'm sorry. No, but oh man, it's disheartening because this is gaining groundswell. I hope that nobody takes her seriously. I really don't.
Well,
There's
people who want, like, I remember, what was it? I think at either a sporting event in Winnipeg, there was, I think a woman brought a baby or something, and the baby was crying the whole time, and then they asked her to leave. And,
Rightfully so.
And they claimed it was a human rights violation. It's like, yeah, if someone was in front of you yelling the entire game, you have the right to kick them out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're a year old or 80 years old. If someone's yelling the whole time and taking away from your experience of watching the sporting event, they have a right to be kicked out of the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that it's a baby and can't help itself. It's your fault for bringing a baby to a sporting event who can't stop yelling.
Get a fucking babysitter.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
it's
like
that
those
simple.
parents who take them to movies.
Find a teenager that you know, pay them good, Hope they don't fuck your husband while you're out. You know, and then just get them to watch your fuck
Because that's
trophy.
the level of everything. Automatically, they're gonna fuck your husband.
Now it brings back to Brennan's evaluation of porn.
We're not getting. I was trying not to make that connection intentionally. Brendan doesn't get to evaluate porn until we get at least one tweet stating so.
I was watching this one the other day.
Oh, we're not going down this
We're
road.
not going down this path.
I regret
Why did you start this?
She was sucking a dude's dick, and there was like a little miniature dude on it.
What the fuck?
And it was something along the lines of like, woman cucks mini like midget household giantess cucks human husband or some shit. And the thumbnail was her, and there was like a little tiny dude about like a miniature man about a centimeter tall, like sticking out her fucking mouth.
Why the fuck did you have to say?
Didn't you say last week that you enjoy vanilla? That doesn't sound very vanilla.
It doesn't mean I can't dabble in the dark arts every once in a while, okay?
Man, I'm just saying that sure as hell ain't vanilla.
That definitely isn't vanilla.
That's some Rocky Road shit there.
I'm a gray Jedi of porn, okay?
Great Jedi of porn.
Anyway,
So
I'm taking
get back onto the fat bitch.
Okay, you're not done with that. Okay.
No, I'm not. Honestly,
I'll let you go.
And I want to get this straight that like I don't hate this woman because she's big. I hate that she thinks everyone should accommodate her needs because they're different from everyone else's. There are some people that have conditions where they will gain weight, like thyroid problems.
Yeah.
That's about 10 pounds. This woman is clearly about 70 to 80 pounds overweight. That's not their problem that you're not eating your diet, like having a proper diet.
Mm-hmm.
They should not accommodate that. I'm looking at you for a reason, Adrien.
I ain't putting in my input here, man. I get shut down right away, so I ain't saying shit at this point.
Well, you're consoling the fat bitch?
No, my point is exactly that. She feels her needs should be met because of her own life choices.
Yeah.
It's exactly what PC is. People bitching about how people should do things their way because it hurts their feelings. How's that any fucking different?
That's completely different. Politically correct is people being upset because it's more people getting upset for other people where this one's getting upset for herself.
Well, yeah, for that specific, but that happens with everything. People bitching in colleges how they need a safe place because they feel victimized because they might get slightly bullied. Like, stupid shit like that.
Everything's got to be a safe space these days.
Well, exactly. That's my point. And that's exactly it. This lady's bitching and moaning because it's not safe enough for her to go get her nails painted because she may or may not break the equipment.
Yeah.
If a company's saying, hey, you may break our shit, get the fuck off it, you get the fuck off.
Yeah, you move to the next location and hope that they don't,
Hope they have a fucking a jack or something.
Yeah.
Hope they don't speak English and you can just sit down before they say anything.
Yeah. Hopefully their chairs are made of a higher quality steel than the last one.
Adamantium or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I just there's too many of these cases, and every time I see this come up in the news, I just like, of course it's Canada,
Well, I think it's all over where it's...
No, yeah, it's not just Canada.
I think south of the border they have their fair share of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of south of the border...
We're a smaller country. All our problems are bigger by comparison.
Same with our people.
There was some chick who was bitching. I saw this video on Facebook. What was it, like last week, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, yes. Tell us what you saw on Facebook.
Whatever the fuck, man. I scrolled
The
through
Book
this
of
shit, I get
Faces.
bored. Anyways, some chick was losing her shit in this restaurant because I guess some guy kissed his girlfriend on the forehead or whatever. They were waiting in line for their food. This bitch lost it. Like, she's like, that's sexual harassment. You're basically having sex with it. All they did was kiss her on the forehead. She's losing her fucking mind on this shit, on these people. Sexual assault. I can't believe you're displaying that in front of me. She was losing her fucking mind. And they're filming this and everything. She's yelling at the guy behind the counter. He's not the manager or anything, just some employee. And she's like, how could you let them do this? Let me talk to your manager. He, like, hands her the phone to the manager. The manager, like, talking to her. She's yelling at the manager, throws the phone. Loses her shit all off of a little peck on the forehead. How fucking daft do you have to be to lose your shit over something that small?
Yeah, it keeps these people's lives entertaining.
Yeah.
Apparently, it turns out that chick who was bitching about it all is a webcam star on top of it all.
It's a professional comer.
Pretty close, yeah. So basically, she goes out of her way to show herself in obviously a compromising fashion of sorts. And then proceeds to bitch and moan just because some guy wants to be like, hey, you see this girl that's with me? I am hers. She is mine. Thank you. Like, just because the fat cunt doesn't have one of her own doesn't mean she has to bitch about it.
So we gotta ask right now.
Oh.
What did he recognize first? Did he recognize that there was a problem, or did he recognize that one of the cam girls that he follows was in an altercation in the news the other day? He's like, I wonder what she did.
Oh,
Actually,
did someone
she
hurt?
had two things. A, didn't find out about the webcam thing until about 2 days prior because it was released a second time with the attachment. Second of all, I don't watch webcam. I don't watch webcam stars because that is way too fucking boring.
Yeah, it's like
No, I'm not kidding. I've tried. It doesn't work. Way too fucking dull.
you gotta find the right one.
Mm-mm. To find
I
the
could
right
recommend
one,
you. I could recommend you some girls, man.
What?
they've got.
We'll exchange info later. Apparently.
Okay, I'm gonna take it away from this. Okay, so I watched a documentary the other day. It was about I don't know if you heard this.
What's
Like,
the matter, Mac? You don't like coming?
no, that's fine. You can do it. But I felt
He's
that
just more awkward about it.
that
than
was
we
just
are.
gonna go into rambling about random nonsense, and I didn't want.
I could give you some good sites, man.
Okay. Anyway, it's I don't know if you
They'll
heard.
be in the description. I'll help you brothers out. I'll recommend you some good
Anyone who
girls.
is lonely, check out our disclaimer. Right below that, we'll have links to various porn sites.
Subscribe to us on Twitter. I'll see you guys at the next big ISIS rally. We'll share tips then.
Only then though, so you have to join ISIS. Anyway,
I'll bring cookies, man.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I won't tell you what's in them, but
Fuck off.
you'll like them.
It's called Enter the Slenderman. That shit I didn't realize how bad that was for that regard.
And he says he doesn't watch porn. That's horse shit.
No, this shit is
God.
ridiculous. It's about like Slenderman, like the character.
Well, of
guy.
course we
Yeah.
knew what you meant.
No, I'm just saying, and it's about like these 12-year-old girls who stabbed another one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, how ridiculous is this? Or it's like, I get that, like, it's
At
scary.
that
Where it's
age,
like when we were 12, it's like, where did we hear things about, like, internet was like in its smallest stage, where it's like maybe we had chat rooms and shit.
Yeah, when I was like 10, You're the Man Now Dog was still fucking huge, and then
Yeah, and it's
What?
like,
YTMND.
I didn't know that.
Basically, GIFs with sound. That's all it was.
Yeah, and then it's like, the shit we hear about that was all like schoolyard nonsense.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, and then it's like these girls who just were on I forget what the website was called. Anyway, it's just, and then it was talking.
There's a couple websites that actually say they've tracked down Slenderman and shit.
Yeah, and
like
it
that.
was about like how the Slenderman is just.
It's like a what would you call that, a myth, right?
Yeah, it's some sort
It's
of
like
there's
some
some boogeyman.
chupacabra and shit like that.
Yeah, it's some boogeyman type thing where he's just protects the meek and whatever, and just attacks people and whatever and what have you. And then they believe that by sacrificing this other girl, that the Slenderman wouldn't kill their families.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, that's just, it blew me away that it's like, I get kids are more
Impressionable.
gullible and stuff.
A lot of peer pressure, I assume,
Yeah.
in that situation.
It was
I don't
like
know if it was actually much. Yeah, 'cause
It wasn't
only-
much peer
It was two of. I think it was like 3 girls total. It was like 2 of them. And then they had a sleepover with the third.
Yeah.
And then killed the third one. It was the 2 of them that worked together.
Yeah.
It was just like the little.
Yeah, and then one of the 2 was schizophrenic, so
Oh, I can see
she
that, yeah.
she would see him, like the Slenderman, and
Yeah.
think he was real and telling her stuff and things of that nature.
Hmm.
So
You know,
it's like
a lot of people would play up like, oh, that's fucking stupid of them, but like mental illness regarding anything like that, like a very gullible young adult,
yeah,
like that is a super powerful.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
it's
that
like
takes over.
like if you're 12 years old or 10 years old and you see the devil or whatever and he's telling you whatever,
Jump off
and
the
then you see that for 2 years, you might
Fuck
just
her mother.
you, you might just do whatever they say, and it's just like, and think, oh, he
Do it
told
now.
me to do it,
Do it now.
and it's just, and it was just crazy watching that thing, and it's
Kill
it
them
was
all.
baffling, and just to try to, in this time of you
Red
can't
Red
shut
rum.
up, man, jeez.
I'm purposely trying to throw subtle things in there.
Not
Yeah,
very subtle.
dickwad.
To start yelling things.
Yeah,
That's the
honestly.
whole point.
And if it honestly, like in that case, if it wasn't the Slender Man, it was going to be something else.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
on, like with a person like that, where they're a young adult, they've got a hugely overactive imagination, plus a mental health problem like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
They're a ticking time bomb.
And also, it's a thing where it was unconditional, or it was Like she did undiagnosed was the word I was looking for, and like apparently her dad has schizophrenia, and they apparently didn't look at the signs that maybe she might have it.
Well, when it comes to something as subtle as that, it's hard to catch it till it's too late.
But like sometimes you would, you would kind of fish for that. I would assume that you would kind of fish to see if you could.
Out of connection due to the father having it, usually there's a test that is done every couple years to check on the child to see if it's hereditary.
Yeah.
So that's actually
there's
kind
no
of
like real test for that. Like you can't.
No, there's not. They can just like evaluate her.
Yeah, you can just ask her questions and shit and stuff.
Yeah,
but like if she hid it from them, then.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's 12 years old.
No, it's just like everybody should have a Rorschach test of like a series of pictures and the question for every one of them. It's just like social media stars and. Yeah. Urban legends and all of the questions is, does this make you feel like murdering someone?
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage comes up.
If yes, please don't mind the cocking of the gun next to your head.
Here, if you answer yes, I need to just take this pill.
It's part of the test.
It's part of the test. If you say yes, eat a pill. If you answer yes again, eat this other pill.
They just keep feeding her pills.
One of them may be poison, but we don't know.
Yeah, it's the fourth one, so if you answer yes 4 times, then...
Yeah, 3 strikes and you're out, man.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I thought it was pretty interesting, and it was just crazy. We're just, like, kids growing up at this time where it's like, if you're socially awkward and just, like, go on the internet all the time, and it's just, like, you can see this shit wherever. And
well, that's another thing. Like, I'm assuming that if she was aware she had a mental health problem, we're in this weird issue with, going back to the PC mentality you brought up just before. There's like a certain subset of the internet right now that is romanticizing mental illness. This has been going on for years, obviously. Like, it was kind of, even when I was a teenager, it was kind of expected that a lot of people were depressed. I mean, we're millennials. It's kind of expected of us.
Yeah, anxiety and what have you.
Yeah, anxiety problems, depression, low attention span.
Yeah,
like
but
half the class had Ritalin.
Yeah, but that changed in our years of growing up. Like me when I was a kid, like you see me fidget now and stuff like that. I've been doing that for years. Remember when I'd play video games, Brendan would make fun of me because I'd start rocking, just because I would do it. It's
now
just second nature.
You looked like it looked like you were entering some kind of like heightened mental state.
That or you would have the supreme dad lean where every time you're like turning and you're just half 90 degrees off the ground.
Yeah, see, but that's just it. That's my fidget. And growing up, like my dad told me, he's like, yeah, you're borderline ADHD. Still have no idea what the fuck that means, but whatever. But the thing is though, that was it. It was, okay, you may have this illness, but you're probably just hyper. It's like, but now you see a kid, a little bit hyper or whatever, and immediately it's, oh, he's got ADHD, fucking drug that kid until he's in a coma.
Have some Adderall.
Yeah, like shit like that. Like, it's the smallest tweaks now. But like, a kid sitting alone when we were growing up, we'd call them a loner. We wouldn't be going, oh man, he's fucking depressed, I'm gonna shoot up the school. Like, that wasn't the mindset we had. That was a example. When most times when they see a kid sitting off on his own, they automatically assume depression and they automatically assume the worst. That he's gonna come back and start taking out people.
Learn to sarcasm, you PC libtard faggot cuck.
Yeah. Well, no, I guess you don't see a lot of this stuff.
No, you had a rambling sentence and I didn't understand the last part of it, and he was just like, and shoot the side or something. He said something.
Shoot up a school.
What I was getting at is that there's this weird mentality with a lot of people these days that having a mental illness is something to strive for. Yeah, I know.
Why the fuck would that be something to strive for?
You tell me.
Well, no, I did a psych course a while back when I was going for my GED. It was just an elective I was able to pick. I picked it up. And then what part of the course was you go through a day as a schizophrenic. They give you a headset that just whispers mean nothings into your ear and shit. And you walk around town. Like, the whole thing is to, go find stuff and experience life as someone with schizophrenia. And it was really fucked up. Like, the shit you hear sometimes, and, the people that, help you out because they automatically assume you're just fucking stupid or whatever, they're just condescending as shit. It's very eye-opening. So, for someone to be like, oh, man, I want to have an illness, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? People just pray for peace.
It's not... Schizophrenic isn't...
Well, okay,
yeah, I know.
I'm not saying that one specifically, but people are like, oh, I'm depressed, oh, I'm bipolar, all this shit all the time.
But that's what I'm getting at, though, is there's a lot of people that strive to have that label on them, and it kind of comes from, again, a lot of people don't have this idealistic place in the world these days. And to some people, just having that label of, I have this mental illness, this is who I am, is something to strive for. And it's a lot more common than I'd like to admit. And this is weird for me to admit this because it's such a weird thing that I do. But on Reddit.com, you can find me on there looking at all kinds of different porn on there, yeah. Probably. That's where I learn all my dick facts.
I knew it.
So, I do this weird thing on there where if I find someone on a subreddit that says something really fucking weird, I'll kind of like click on their history and read some of their comments. And, you know, it's just weird. It's just curiosity taking over, right?
No, yeah, of course.
I'm not like, I don't really care who they are. It's just kind of like, okay, does this personality trait kind of hold throughout all of their interactions on that website?
You're intrigued more at the state of mind the person might have behind the comment, whether it's just like the one time that you're trying to be ridiculous, or if it's actually like
you learn a lot about people.
Their abstract thought is literally to that extreme.
I treat it as like a form of people watching, like you would do.
Well, yeah, since you don't leave the room.
Go on a shut up. I'm jerking off all day now. You know, if you've ever like
good people watch. Yeah, baby.
Have you ever like just been on a bus and just watched all the passengers?
That's an interesting game.
Yeah,
that is an interesting game.
Mac and I, we were leaving your place after one of my birthdays. I think it was like my 18th or 19th birthday. I was pretty hungover or whatever. We were on the bus. And Mac and I are on this bus ride, and there's this native lady and her husband on the bus and whatever. They're kind of bickering or whatever. Mac and I are trying to ignore it, but clearly you can't. Like, it's one of those.
They're yelling at each other.
Yeah, they're yelling. Like, they're basically bringing the attention to themselves, and you're trying to like. And I can't remember what the fuck she said right before she got off.
She was like, "I sucked this guy's dick" or something. She's like, "I sucked Frank's dick," and it was pretty good. Just cause she was so loud. She should have just called him a cuck and got it over with.
Oh my god. Yeah, she was like, "Yeah, well, I sucked this guy's dick or whatever," and she got mad and storms off the bus, and the guy stands there for a second, just kind of looking around like, what the fuck do I do with this information? And then follows her and gets off the bus. Mac and I are sitting there like, the fuck just happened?
That was a pretty full bus, and everyone was just staring around. Like, what do we do with our lives now? Do we get off the bus, or do we just keep going?
Yeah, what happened to the show? Like, we're out of popcorn.
Yeah.
Oh, it was quite funny, I must admit. Yeah. That is definitely one of my more memorable bus rides.
Yeah.
I try not to watch people too much when I'm on the bus. I keep to myself as best I can.
Personally, I think it's a neat way to kind of, like, again, it's just intrusive curiosity on my part.
Yeah.
Where you look at somebody, you try and figure out, okay, what's that person like? What's their hobbies?
So you're trying to invade their life or something?
It's more like
it's like he's
a guessing game.
It's like he's an alien trying to understand the human race.
Think about it like that from an outside perspective, essentially, yeah. Okay. But I do this online too, because again, with any social media, everything you say is on there.
Yeah, it's saved up there.
You can peruse a catalog of someone's interactions. And when I see someone online and I go, okay, that guy's an asshole, let's
see how much.
Is he always an asshole?
Let's see. I'm going to guess they look at this. I'm going to guess they act like this. I'm going to guess they call someone a libtard cuck, and they don't use that term ironically. And lo and behold, you write off the checklist. You're like, all right, this guy's a fan of Donald Trump. He calls people libtard cucks, and he browses this subreddit, and he acts like this all the time. I do that with a lot of people where it's like, do they hold this personality trait with everything they do online? And you find a lot of people where they act like a fucking weirdo, and you look into their history and you go, okay, this guy's actually a fucking weirdo. I didn't know that people this weird fucking existed. Sometimes I find that a lot of people, and this goes with my weird, I was regaling to you about people, they almost like romanticize mental illness. Yeah. This happens with a lot of people where they'll self-diagnose. And they say,
man, Google's your best friend. Everybody's got cancer.
But here's the thing. You've got, because it's you can find anything online, obviously. It's so oversaturated with content that you can find a niche sub location for you to indulge in any kind of curiosity you have. Yeah. People who romanticize mental illnesses like this, they don't have just one illness. They have all of them. They've got ADHD. They've got depression. They've got bipolar disorder. And when you're reading their histories, they're talking about all the medications they're taking, all the weird effects these things are having on them, and this becomes their life. And it's such a weird thing, but it's so common, and it's a lot more common than you would think is
or want to admit, really.
Right, yeah. And I find that fascinating. I find that fucking fascinating that people are so like involved with the way that their brain works in a negative way, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff is psychosomatic, where if you think you have it, then
it's a confirmation bias.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. I think I have it, therefore my brain will choose the things that confirm that I have that disease.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where it'd be like,
similar to the placebo effect, I guess.
No, it's more like you listen to the facts that prove you right as opposed to the stuff that proves you wrong.
Oh,
Yep.
gotcha.
So
So when you're looking at the correlations, you're looking at all the things that are right rather than
where it'd be like
what clearly doesn't add up.
Yeah,
think of it like a hypochondria at a mental state.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, where everything that you think you have, you're suddenly starting to see all of these symptoms that you never had before, and they're not really there. It's just your mind conjuring them up. Okay. And again, I'm not exaggerating when I say that this is a lot more common than you'd think, where they work this up in their head, and it's like it becomes their life. And I think, I don't know, personally, I think that's fascinating. I'd love to meet someone like that. Hopefully they don't kill me when I talk to them.
Yeah.
You know? I killed him! I must be crazy!
I think some people...
I'm pretty certain you don't want to be talking to somebody who's thinking that then.
Yeah, I think there's just some people who don't want to believe that who they are is like 100%.
Yeah.
Like, they want to believe that they have some sort of, like this guy who knocks over bottles for no reason.
Wasn't intentional.
He had knocked over a bottle. It must be ADHD.
Yeah.
It must be it. But like they want to believe that they could be a better version of themselves and there's something holding them back kind of thing.
Yeah, they have things to fix. It gives them something to strive for.
Yeah.
And it I don't know, like it's something that I didn't expect to see, but the more I know about it, it's another kind of like in itself a confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Where the more you see it, the more you start to see more of it.
Yeah.
And
Confirmation bias is an interesting not theory, but an idea of how people think in general, where in almost every regard, where they think something's true and they will look at what what agrees with them and they will completely ignore what doesn't agree with them.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Like-
goes for a lot of things, though.
Well, that's everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's especially now in a world where the internet, you can get so niche into your specific group that you can look at exactly what agrees with you and ignore everything else.
Yeah.
That's like what people are saying. As Canadians are bringing this up, the American election, where they each group kind of divided themselves further and further apart.
Yep.
Where before it was you had the one news source and it took both sides of the dice or of the coin.
Yeah.
Dice, I don't know why I said it. But anyway, and then now it's like this is a very Republican side of things and this is a very Democrat side, and then you listen to whatever you think is right and agree with them and think the other guys are bozos and whatever and what have you. Like, it's for everything, and it's just a very easy...
I'm with you on that, because I've seen in the past, say, 4 years, I've seen people unironically use the term libtard, fuckboy, cuckboy, and it's like, they mean that. They mean that, and they're saying this to support their argument. And mentally, I see someone use the word cuck or libtard, and I write it off, because it's like, well, if you're using that language, you can't possibly have a constructive point. But even then itself is a bad thing to do, because they could have something worthwhile to bring to the table. But because I don't like the way that they're phrasing it, I'm almost like subconsciously writing off all validity that they have.
Yeah, your point is invalid because you said it like that.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the converse side of the argument, where a lot of people are going, oh, Trump is literally Hitler. And it's like, all right, you can't possibly be informed and have that same opinion in itself. And it's like, they probably have some good, opinions on the way that the government should be run.
Just don't know what figuratively means.
Yeah, they just,
Or literally.
Yeah, like...
Or who Hitler is.
It's just...
Or who
Hitler is. Yeah.
Or they believe in reincarnation.
Or they like Pepsi.
Fuck
and
off!
then that's crossing the line.
Whoa, easy there.
But, again, and that's just, again, demonstratively confirmation bias.
Yeah, it's like the people... I'm curious the amount of people who use the word cuck know what it's cuckold and what that actually means.
Yeah.
Where they just
it's just kind of a catch-all insult.
It's just an insulting word for the internet.
It's the new cunt, where cunt was big 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, it's a funny word. I enjoy it, but it's
fun to say.
To use it right, it's great.
Yeah.
But it gets used as more of a catch-all.
I'm more waiting to find another good porn where some guy's like gets called a cuck because his wife's getting fucked, and he's like, I don't support Trump. What are you talking about?
Alright, I guess that would be a great time if it was Eddie to call it. Alright, so that was another episode of Tomfoolery with Brendan and more sexual.
I really want to hear that. I want to hear someone be like, what? Why are you calling me that?
Well, I don't support Trump. I love the Jews.
Alright, we'll catch you next time.
Anti-Semitism isn't cool.